What's going on, guys? Welcome to Get Into the Facts. I'm your host, Andrew Curiel. Man, it's been a minute. Man, all this trying to buy a new laptop, getting the wrong laptop, getting the new one finally, having to set up all the settings. It took forever, so I'm sorry about it, guys, but thank you for holding on with me. And we're going to get back into some nice topics here. And we got a big one that's been going around the United States for a minute about the illegal immigration, which we've done a couple of videos on already. But it's kind of been picking up a little bit more with Texas going at the federal government because the federal government is trying to tell Texas to stand down and not protect its own border when the federal government's not doing its job and protecting the border themselves. You know what I mean? So I'm wholeheartedly on the side of Texas when it comes to this. They need to protect their border if the federal government is going to neglect their duty, which is exactly what they were supposed to do. All right, guys, so we're going to get right into it. But before we do, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. We're going to get right into it, okay? We got this first article here. This is from CBS News. Texas doubles down at unprecedented border dispute with federal government. The unprecedented standoff between the state of Texas and the federal government at the southern border continues. CBS News Texas sat down with North Texas immigration attorney Haim Vasquez to break down what it all means and what could happen next. We have never seen the point that we have right now, said immigration attorney Haim Vasquez. Never to that point to where we have the Texas National Guard, agents from DPS basically blocking the entrance and taking authority or control of the border. On Monday, the Supreme Court said the federal government has the authority to remove razor wire that Texas installed at the southern border. Homeland Security said Texas had until Friday to give federal authorities access to Eagle Pass. But Governor Abbott is doubling down, saying he'll increase state border patrol and adding more barriers and more razor wire. We are at a very critical issue right now because we're testing really the essence of the Republic of the United States and whether or not the Supreme Court has authority, whether states have to abide or find a way to interpret it the way that they want, said Vasquez. On Friday, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton refused the federal government's request for access to the border and demanded proof that the federal government has the authority to turn a Texas park into a port of entry. Vasquez says we'll have to wait and see what takes action next. If the federal government backs down from this, they completely will lose the authority they have on Supreme Court president, said Vasquez. 25 Republican governors are backing Governor Abbott's stance. They say Texas has the constitutional right to self-defense. Of course they do. Governor Abbott says he believes those states will be willing to send troops to the border if needed. And they actually have already stated they would do so. At least multiple of those 25 states already said they would send their National Guard if they needed to, which I full-heartedly agree with. I mean, this is the country's southern border that we are seeing unprecedented, guys, unprecedented levels of illegal immigration. I'm not talking about legal immigration. Okay, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about illegal immigration coming across and not through the right port of entries. And then when they do come through the right port of entries, because they know that this administration is just going to put them there. If they just say that they're seeking asylum, they immediately get in and they have at least 3 to 5 years in the country before they even have their first court date. You know what I mean? It's absolutely crazy. So, I mean, honestly, guys, that's my biggest thing is when it comes to this is the federal government is purposefully, okay, there's no other way that you can think about this. Okay. They are purposefully neglecting to do anything about stopping the influx of not only illegal immigration coming through the wrong entry points, but also the way that they're handling these asylum seeker claims. That's why I loved under the last administration, we had the Remain in Mexico thing, which if you're going through multiple countries to get to our southern border on the Mexico-United States southern border, and you're going through multiple countries to get there, that you need to be seeking asylum in those other countries. Seek asylum in Mexico. Like, why are we allowing them to just come straight over to the United States, skipping all these other countries just because they know this administration is going to allow it and give them 3 to 5 years before they even get their court date for seeking asylum? It's absolute insanity. Absolutely insane, guys. So we're going to watch this little video clip, okay? It's about 55 seconds long of the Lieutenant Governor of Texas explaining to the news outlets that if Biden really cares about securing the southern border, let Texas do what Texas has been doing. The razor wire definitely works, and it definitely doesn't harm the Border Patrol. Border Patrol is not trying to climb the fences to get over into Mexico, okay? It's the opposite way around for anyone who believes otherwise, like Karine Jean-Pierre. You know what I'm saying? So let's watch this video and see what we got here.
New developments in the battle over the border pitting Texas against the federal government. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick went down to Eagle Pass and slammed the Biden administration for the way it's handled the migrant surge.
So I would say to President Biden, you say you want to secure the border, you can prove it by getting out of our way here. You don't need to be here.
But the president says the border is under federal control, not any one state. Right now, senators are negotiating a border security plan on Capitol Hill and expect to unveil it next week. President Biden issued a new statement saying striking a deal would give him emergency authority to shut down the border when it becomes overwhelmed, a power he plans to use almost immediately. He's also calling on Congress to come through with the border funding he requested in October. It would allow the government to hire another 1,300 agents, 375 immigration judges, and 1,600 officers to handle asylum claims.
I mean, guys, that right there is just absolutely crazy to me. Like, okay, what they're saying, oh, you want power to be able to shut down the ports of entry whenever there's an immigration crisis? I honestly don't even want the president to have that power. I'll just protect the border, have an actual plan to stop the flow of this immigration. There should be, we really should have a moratorium on asylum seekers, because this is the most illegal immigration and asylum seeking claims that we have seen in U.S. history. Okay? U.S. history, guys. We've never seen it like this. We got to do something. And giving the president the power to just shut down something whenever he wants, I don't want that. I don't want a dictatorship. Okay? The state should be able to protect themselves if the United States federal government cannot do it themselves. Okay? Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And would I be okay with the compromise by giving the president that power? Yeah, but not with what they're trying to do. Okay, I'm about to pull up an article on exactly what this bill that they're trying to pass actually is. It's not just about securing our border and doing all that and getting all these more judges in so they can file all these people and getting all these border patrol agents. No, that's not all they're trying to do, guys, because you know how the federal government is. So we're going to watch this or see this little article here. Let me see. What do we got? Perfect. So this is from, just so you guys know, it's from migrationpolicy.org. It's a .org website. Yet the border crisis confronting the Biden administration has left the most activist presidency yet on immigration accused of inaction by critics, to the extent that the House of Representatives this month launched impeachment proceedings against the administration's Homeland Security Secretary. The U.S. southern border has witnessed a record of at least 6.3 million migrant encounters at and between ports of entry since Biden took office in January 2021. According to data from the Office of Homeland Security Statistics, resulting in more than 2.4 million migrants allowed into the country. Most of these individuals are in active removal proceedings, which that is a little misleading, in immigration court, in which they can claim asylum as a defense against removal. Even some of Biden's fellow Democrats have begun advocating for more stringent border control, adding a new dimension to immigration politics in a presidential election year when the issue is sure to be the defining one between the two political parties. The speeded pace of executive actions taken by the current and last administration is in part a response to continued inaction in Congress, which has not passed a major immigration overhaul in nearly 3 decades. However, as of this writing, the president was engaged in negotiations, okay, this is the bill, with congressional leaders for $110 billion with a B, okay, package that would provide aid for Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan in exchange for tightened border controls and asylum eligibility. These talks were also partly a response to the administration's actions as congressional leaders were discussing limiting the president's ability to make certain immigration changes, especially granting immigration parole, which permits temporary stay in the country and work authorization. Now, we're going to stop right there, guys. Okay? Stop right there. Can't we just worry about the United States for once? Just one time. That's all I want. Okay? One damn time. Can we please just pass something that benefits the United States without giving billions and billions and billions of dollars to another country to fight their own wars that they're getting into? The only one that I would be okay with even helping right now is Taiwan. Okay? Only one. Because they're really trying to fight China from taking them over and putting them back as part of China again. Okay, that's the only one. Freaking Israel and Ukraine, there's so much extra context with that. There just makes no sense to get involved and send billions of dollars of taxpayer money, devaluing our dollar, which is devaluing the American worker's value. Okay, that is what this is. The American dollar is a representation across the entire world of what the U.S. citizen basically provides as they basically what they provide as not currency, but just as well, I guess that's currency. I mean, that's really what it is. Our dollar is being devalued, which means our work, what we actually represent as a dollar amount per citizen, is being devalued. Okay, we're going down the road of Venezuela real quick, guys. I don't know if you remember one of my earlier videos. It was actually my first video I did on inflation. If you made $70,000 in 2007, you had the same buying power as someone who's making $103,000 in today's economy. That is a 35 to 40% increase in or decrease in valuation of our currency and our buying power. It is absolutely insane that we keep doing this, guys. Absolutely insane. And we're going to go over to this article as well from AP News and just show you how crazy this is when it comes to these asylum seekers, okay? Immigrants waiting 10 years in U.S. just to get a court date. U.S. immigration offices have become so overwhelmed with processing migrants for court that some asylum seekers who cross the border at Mexico may be waiting a decade before they even get a date to see a judge. The backlog stems from a change made 2 months after President Joe Biden took office, when Border Patrol agents began now defunct practice of quickly releasing immigrants on parole. They were given instructions to report to a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement office at their final destination to be processed for court, work previously done by the Border Patrol. Offices in some cities are now telling migrants to come back years from now, and the extra work has strained ICE's capacity for its traditional work for enforcing immigration laws in the U.S. interior. We're being stretched to the limit, said Jameson Matsuzuki, Director of Enforcement and Removal Operations in San Diego. As for migrants, waits to get a court date vary. In New York, ICE told asylum seekers this month to return in March of 2033. March of 2033, guys. U.S. Rep. Henry Cuellar, a Texas Democrat, said at a recent hearing in 9 other cities, San Antonio, Miramar, Florida, Los Angeles, Jacksonville, Florida, Milwaukee, Chicago, Washington, Denver, and Mount Laurel, New Jersey, the wait is until March of 2027. March of 2027, guys. Until then, the migrants in question won't even get an initial court appearance on the books, though they can live and work in the U.S. After that, their case will work its way through the U.S. immigrant courts, a process that takes about 4 years, amid a backlog that reached 2.1 million cases in January, up from 600,000 in 2017. The asylum system is in dire need of reform from top to bottom, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas told reporters last week when asked about the waits for a court notice. I mean, guys, again, I just don't understand why we're doing this. The Secretary of Homeland Security is even saying it needs all this reform, but what they're actually doing is nothing when it comes to actions taken to prevent most of these asylum seekers from coming in, most of which are men, military-aged men. Most of them don't have women with them. I'm saying most because obviously there's some women, some children, but it's mostly men and maybe a child. And you don't even know if it's their child or not. And they're coming in, guys, and they're shipping them. They're bringing them to Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. I'm in Arizona. I've seen it. Like, James O'Keefe did a whole thing on this. Like, they are shipping them to Sky Harbor and then making them go on a plane and putting them all over the country in different states. This is really going to mess up our census, and I think that's what they want. We have a census every 10 years, and based on the population of that state, you get more electoral votes for that state based on just population, not if you're a legal citizen or not. And that is what I'm concerned with, because the next one is in 2030. So if they don't get their first court date until 2027, and it takes 4 years to go through the immigrant court process, they're going to be here in 2030 for the next census. I mean, guys, we got to think about this. This is why the average person needs to stop only minding their own business and wake up a little bit, and don't be afraid to speak your mind and talk to the average person. Talk to everybody. We need to be on the same page with this. We're going to lose our country so quick, so quick. Like, I mean, guys, I'm only 31. If we keep going, the dominoes, I see where the dominoes are going. And by the time I'm 50, the United States is going to be burning if we don't do something. Okay. And I'm not saying violence, okay, at all. Not saying violence. I'm saying just speak up and stand for what you believe in instead of just minding your own business, because I feel like that's what the average American wants to do. They just want to live their own life. Don't bug me. I just want to be free, do my own thing. And that's it, and I completely agree with that. But we're at a point right now in the United States where the only reason that the United States is going down this path is because good people are not speaking up. Good people are not doing what is needed to be done to get the spotlight. The only people getting the spotlight right now are these radical people that are trying to just tear down every institution of the United States. You know what I mean, guys? So that's why I started this podcast. I just want to do my part and try to wake up as many people as I can and bring as many like-minded individuals together as I can. And hopefully we can turn things around in the United States the way it should. Because if the United States falls and we lose our Constitution, we lose our Bill of Rights, it's really the first two that are most important: freedom of speech and right to bear arms. If we lose both of those, freedom across the world is going to be completely gone. There's not going to be such thing as that. And that is exactly what these globalist type of people who want a one world system are going for. All they got to do is get rid of our Constitution or find a way to bypass it. You know what I mean? So I hope you like the content today, guys. Again, it's something that I'm definitely passionate about because I'm in Arizona. I'm near the southern border. Like, this is something that we all as Americans have to pay attention to. All right. But I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay blessed out there, and I'll see you on that next video.